Yeah. Okay. This question or takeaway?
Takeaway and
Okay.
question. So you were talking about. So you were talking about who told you were naked, right? And I just wanted to come from a standpoint of, the question is, because people can tell us certain things, but what if we're the person that's telling us those things ourselves? You know, if we're telling ourselves, right, who told you were naked? Well, I told myself that. So how do we come out of that? Is the question. If we're telling ourselves, because people can, tell us that we're naked and they can, judge us or whatever, but so that's my.
It takes a committed intentionality to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Hear me.
Okay.
When God made them, Genesis 1 and 2, he gave them identity.
Right.
When he gave them identity, what came with that identity is authority, affirmation. Mm-hmm. It came with a covenant relationship. God didn't leave them or create them in a deficit.
Right.
They had everything they need. But the question is, do I believe it?
Okay.
See, God gives you everything, but the element of faith is needed to believe it.
Right.
You feel me?
I feel you.
If you don't believe you are what he said, you'll never enunciate and affirm it to yourself that you believe who you are.
Right.
And anytime you don't believe an authentic identity, you are now susceptible for the devices of deception. Mm-hmm. And so it comes first with the conviction that who did God make me?
Right.
God made Adam so well that when God put animals before him to be his helpmeet, Adam was aware enough to say, this don't fit me. Mm-hmm. Had Adam been operating in identity crisis in that moment, he probably would have married a goat, and we all be marrying goats and sheeps. Seriously. That's why God created the animals, to see if they were suitable for Adam, to see if he could be his helpmeet.
Right. Okay.
That's why God created the animal. He said he presented the animals first. Mm-hmm. That's why before you get your person, you got to reject animals. Maybe that's too heavy.
That's deep.
Eve didn't come until he rejected the animals.
Right.
And let's look at the flip side. Maybe you haven't got your one because you're entertaining animals. Because Eve doesn't get formed until Adam says, they not for me.
Right.
So you first of all got to be able, in awareness, reject what you know is not for you. Mm-hmm. Man, am I helping anybody in this room?
Yeah.
I've got to reject what I know is not for me. Okay? Awareness.
Right.
Now, had the enemy knew who to go to, he knew if I am a deceiver, I'm just using this as an example.
Okay.
If I'm a deceiver and I can prey on your emotion, I can prey on your heart, not your rationale, but I can prey on your heart. Mm-hmm. If I want to get something from you, especially money, if I want to get something from Greg or Quixie, and I'm a deceiver and I can play the part well, and I can play on emotions, I'm not going to the strong man.
Right.
Because he's aware enough to assess me enough and to call my BS. Mm-hmm. But if I can prey on the sensitivity of his woman and the heartstrings of his woman, I'm more susceptible to get what I want. Satan knows who to go to. Mm-hmm. He didn't go to Adam because Adam had got the affirming word. Eve got the subjective word because she was already internally connected to him. Right. But Eve wasn't fully enough aware. Right. And so the enemy comes to have a conversation and deceives her out of everything. Why? Because she wasn't totally aware. You won't believe it until you are aware of it.
Right.
And once you become aware of who God made you, then nobody else can convince you otherwise. You'll start talking to yourself That's why my book is called What I Said to Myself. I wake up every day, whether I feel like it or not, because I may not hear it from anybody else. Man, you're a bad man. You got to keep going. Hey, you are enough. You deserve to be healed. You deserve to be whole. And you got to have that rhetoric and that conversation with you. But you got to attach faith to it to believe it.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
It does.
If you don't believe it, I can affirm you till I'm blue in the face. And you still going to go out here and be something else. Am I talking to anybody in this room? Huh?
Yeah.
The right affirming voice matters. I don't care who says, Pastor, you look handsome today. If one person don't say it, I don't even care. There's a voice that we have allowed for empowerment because we cherish their opinion and their honesty. And that first voice got to be you.
Right.
Jamon, it's gotta be you. If it's not you, if you don't attach faith to the affirmation, everything, all bets are off. Does that make sense?
It does.
You sure?
Sure.
All right, did that make sense?
Yeah.
Y'all, because watch this. Y'all, let's go. He says this. The enemy deceived Eve so much to the point where Satan had already deceived her, so he didn't have to give her the fruit. The misconception is that Satan gave Eve the fruit. Read the text. The text says she took it. Because when you are convinced otherwise, you will willingly take stuff that you know you're not supposed to have. Oh, I gotta go. Anybody else? You know the truth. Practice his head. Put in the reps. He has given you strength. Trust him. Oh, that's a man. We got takeaways. Okay, y'all showing off now. Okay, y'all. Here's an online takeaway. This is good. You from Kathy Cordova White. You know the truth God has given you. Practicing it as a habit. Put in the reps. He has given you his strength.